Terry, for my first question, I thought it'd be useful to hit your latest results. 100 grams per ton gold at your Mustang mine. This is considered a bonanza hit. For those who are new to your story, the background is that Mustang is just a small piece of your massive complex, the Berlorn complex. How does this sort of hit validate your plan to turn this complex, which is historic, into a major gold producer?
Yeah, look, it validates it very strongly. Where the drill holes were located was directly below where we're currently mining, and they're in the part of the resource conversion of areas that we are planning on mining within our short to medium term. So having the results there really gives us a strong indication of what we can expect by the time we start moving into those areas late here in 2026 and then onwards into 2027.
So how much more, I guess, in terms of results, are we expecting to see out of Talisker? Is it going to be pretty regular this year?
Yes, we'll have a fair amount. These results that we saw come through were related to drilling that we did last year in late in 2025. So we're just seeing the assay results coming in from the laboratory now. So last year we did about 15,000 metres worth of drilling. So we'll see those results coming in here over the next month or two, and then we'll start to see the 2026 drill results that we're currently doing, and that's about 30,000 metres, so almost more than double what we did last year, again in resource conversion and extension of our ore chutes.
And you have a low-cost way to actually produce your gold. You mine the rock, you truck it to a partner's mill rather than building your own. Knowing that you just finalized a purchase agreement in January, how does this effectively de-risk you and your revenue for 2026?
Yes, look, it really makes a significant change for us. With our previous milling partner, we were capped on how much material we could produce at 200 tonnes per day, whereas the new agreement we have is significantly larger. It's up to 1,500 tonnes per day. So it really removes that cap that we had on growing at the rate that we want to grow at. So now it's enabling us to ramp up at will and be able to send that material as often as we like.
Mm-hmm. You've also engaged SGS Canada to build a new economic study here. Most juniors use these studies to start a mine, but you're already producing. The real goal of this study, would you say, is to show the market the combined economics of expanding Mustang and opening your second mine, which is called Olympus, maybe at the same time?
Yes. Really, it's very interesting, the whole concept of economic studies, that we're one of the few industries that requires an independent group to validate our own work. So we've taken our mine into production based on our own, what we believe, very well done economics, very well done mine plan. However, we can't communicate that out into the market, into a public forum. So having the PEA done by SGS, who's really one of the top groups here in Canada to have behind your name putting out an economic study, validates all that work that we've already done ourselves. So brings forward our mine plan, puts that out in the public domain, allows us to do projections and forecasts of our production, and also validates all of our production costs and our methodology that we're employing to produce gold at the moment.
So you've basically done a proof of concept and now you're getting it independently assessed. Why wouldn't the other juniors do the same thing? Why does this differentiate you?
Usually when you look or requiring capital, then you need that independent validation to be able to access capital, even up to feasibility. Bankable feasibility studies are required by banks and other groups who are supplying that capital. So we were very fortunate because we looked at an innovative approach of toll milling and ore sales, that we didn't need a great deal of capital to get up and into production. So we're able to do that very quickly with low capex. So we're able to avoid having to spend the time and money to do an independent economic study. Now we'd really like to do it because it helps validate, helps bring in stronger shareholders, and also helps retail shareholders understand what our business plan is.
And you've moved from being an explorer to producer in how much of a time length?
So our first drill hole, we drilled in February of 2020. So it's really been just under 6 years, or basically 5 years, that we have taken the project from the first drill hole through resource, through mine plan, through our permit amendments and our agreements into production. So really a very rapid timeline, something very unusual in the industry.
And you're ramping up 2026. What is the single biggest operational milestone that's going to prove to the market that Verloren is officially back and bigger than ever?
Really, it's our ramp up here in the second half of the year to 500 tonnes per day. We're working very hard, the operational team, in the first 6 months of the year to clear the fundamental development that we need to get out of the way, the resource conversion drilling, so we can support a sustained level of gold production. And we'll reach that here at the end of Q3, coming into Q4, and then we'll continue in 2027 up to 750, and then 2028 up to 1,000 tonnes per day. So really building the foundation for that growth, and along the way, as we ramp up to 500 tonnes per day, we're really at a top level of high-grade production.
Now, there's new entrants, maybe more than ever in the past decade because of where metal prices are at. For the new folks looking at Talisker, why Talisker compared to another junior that they might be evaluating right now?
Really, it's all about long-term growth potential. And we have a very well-defined vision in the company to become a producer of multiple mines along the district of in excess of 200,000 ounces of annual production. And we've got a well-developed plan to develop that over the next 5 years. We're well underway with our first mine, the Mustang mine. It's well-defined schedule and ramp up over the next 2 years. We'll finalise here with the PEA what our mine plan is for the Olympus mine. We expect that to come online end of 28, 2029. And now we're starting to scope out our third mine, the Congress mine, further to the north, about 10 kilometres to the north. We'll look to bring it online as well in early 2030.
You've got a third mine? I did not get to that, but maybe in the next one we will, Terry.
Absolutely.
Before we go, you yourself, before Talisker, what were you doing? What kind of career history do you have?
So I'm a geologist by trade, a specialist in structural geology and tectonics, PhD from the University of Queensland in those topics. Worked for many years with Anglo-Gold Ashanti in the Americas region as an explorer. And then we worked for several number of years as external technical consultants to the Osisko group, the original Osisko Mining, and then Osisko Gold Royalties, and the new Osisko Mining, and now Osisko Development Corp. So really we've followed that track over the last 20 or 25 years or so.
So you've been with majors. What sort of lessons do you apply when you're running a junior company like Talisker that you've learned from places like that?
I think that the key one is de-risk your project and make sure that you have a pathway that's systematic. Don't put the cart before the horse. Don't try and do too much out of sequence. So follow a systematic way, whether it's in exploration or whether it's in mining. We all know very clearly what the main reasons mines fail. So it's very important to address them very early on and focus on building a quality business that generates revenue, build up a cash flow base to protect yourself from unknowns. And mining, there's always a lot of unknowns, so we have to plan and account for that right at the beginning.
Well, that's all my questions for this one, Terry. Thank you so much.
Thank you.